If you've ever wondered how somebody controls a $10 million property without having $10 million in the bank, this is the answer. It's called the capital stack. And once you understand it, you'll never look at a real estate deal the same way again. Let me break it down simply. At its core, every deal is funded by just two things: debt and equity. Debt is borrowed money, the loan. Equity is ownership money, yours or your investors. Stack those two together and you've got the simplest capital stack there is. That's it. Money you borrow sitting on top of money you own. So why do we layer at all? Because the more layers you use, the less of your own cash you have to put in. The whole game of the capital stack is controlling a big asset with a small slice of your own money and structuring the rest so everyone in the deal gets paid in the right order. And that order is everything. Picture the stack like a ladder. The bottom rung is the safest, it gets paid first. The top rung is the riskiest, it gets paid last, but it earns the most when the deal wins. As you climb the stack, risk and return both go up. Remember that. It's the one idea that ties this whole thing together. Let's build it out. At the very bottom sits senior debt. This is your bank loan, the cheapest money you'll find, usually covering 60 to 75% of the deal. It's the safest position because it's first in line. If anything goes wrong, the senior lender gets paid before anyone else. They can even foreclose, low risk, low cost, first paid. Now, sometimes the bank loan doesn't cover enough, and you don't want to write a giant equity check. So you add a second layer of debt on top, mezzanine debt. You'll also hear it called subordinate or junior debt. Same thing, three names. It sits behind the senior loan, so it's riskier, which means it costs more, think 8% or higher, but it lets you push your leverage up without putting in more of your own cash. Above the debt, we move into equity, the ownership money. And equity isn't just one thing either. Let's go up the stack. First is preferred equity. It's a hybrid, part debt, part ownership. It gets paid after all the debt, but before the regular owners. It's expensive money, often 15 to 20% all in. So you use it carefully to fill a gap. Then at the top comes common equity, the true ownership. And this splits into two groups. The limited partners, your LPs, are the passive investors. They bring most of the money, 90 to 99% of the equity, and they get paid back before you do. And right at the very top sits the general partner, the GP, the sponsor. That's you running the deal. The GP gets paid last of everyone, but earns the biggest upside when the deal performs. Last in line, highest reward. That's the trade. So when the money comes in, it flows down the stack in order. Senior debt first, then mezzanine, then preferred equity. Then your LPs, and finally the GP. Debt always before equity. LPs always before the sponsor. That's the waterfall. Now here's the magic. On that $10 million deal, the bank covers $6.5 million, mezzanine covers $1 million, preferred covers $1 million, and your investors fund most of the rest. Your own check as the sponsor? Around $75,000, 75 grand to control a $10 million asset. That is the power of the capital stack. Master the stack, and you stop thinking like someone who buys properties and start thinking like someone who structures deals. If this was helpful, hit subscribe. I break down creative finance and capital raising every week. I'll see you in the next one.